Well, welcome back, folks. Today we're going to do a bit of a shop talk video. I'm not going to speak specifically to any activity with a little Yamaha YL1 that I've been working on for the last, probably 4, 5, 6 months now. Rather, we're going to talk about a few other things that's going on in the shop. It's now early summer 2019. We've had a very cold and wet spring this year. Consequently, I'm behind on some outside projects that I wanted to do this year. I am now fully retired. I retired at the end of May, so I've been off for a couple of weeks and basically working on outside things around the house when the weather has permitted, and it hasn't really permitted all that much. It's also now yard sale, garage sale, flea market season here in my neck of the woods. So last week I went to a large flea market just south of here a little bit and bought a few treasures that I thought I would share with you. The first one we're going to talk about is this Black & Decker grinder that's here on the bench to my left. I've been looking for a larger, an 8 or a 10-inch grinder for some time. I already have a 6-inch. It's my everyday workhorse, but I really wanted to have 2 grinders. That way I can put wire wheels, a brass and a steel on one, and grinding wheels on the other, and then I don't have to change wheels back and forth. Here's the 8-inch Black & Decker bench grinder, pedestal grinder. It's probably really designed to mount on a pedestal. I don't know the year of manufacture, but I'm going to guess based on this label and what I can find on the internet. It probably dates to the mid to late 1930s. It's very well made. It weighs an absolute ton. I haven't weighed it yet, but I'm going to guess it goes all of 75 pounds or up from there. I had all I could do to lift it onto my workbench with this handle. It literally, it's a beast. It does run. The power cord is 13 feet long, believe it or not, and is in very poor shape, as you can see there. So one of the first things I'm going to do is buy a new length of 12-3 machine cord, similar to what's on here right now, and replace it with a grounded or 3-wire system. You can see the plug right there. I doubt this is the original power cord for this machine, being 13 feet long, but you know, who knows what they did back in the 30s. Very well made and as quiet as a church mouse when it runs. It's a soft start and it spins up quite slowly, and it just, probably as much due to the mass as the quality of construction. It just sits there and is smooth as silk. Bearings seem to be good in it. There's no in-play anywhere. There's no rattle. Bearing noise, that kind of thing. The wheel on the left over here, you can see someone got their money's worth out of that wheel. Let me get you a little better shot of that. There's hardly anything left of it. Very well used. The wheel on the right, move this over here for you. It's an okay shape, but it's going to be replaced. So both the wheels will be replaced. I'm probably going to set this bench grinder up as my wire wheel grinder with a brass, 8-inch brass on one side, 8-inch steel wheel on the other, and then on my 6-inch, I think I'll probably put soft stone on one side and a regular stone on the other. But she works. So what I think I'll do now, besides replace the power cord, is I'm going to go ahead, I think, and paint it. I'll strip, it was originally black paint. I'll strip the paint off and repaint it black. I don't think I need to do anything further in terms of rebuilding it. I just don't think it needs it. And I obviously will preserve this label right here, the original label. So that's the bench grinder. By the way, if you're curious, I paid $45 for this. Now, I know I could go to Harbor Freight and buy an 8-inch with a coupon for probably around that price, maybe even a little less. But I wanted a vintage. My preference was a vintage North American made, heavy duty grinder rather than an inexpensive Asian made machine that is lightweight and vibrates. I like the old equipment, so that's the reason I went that route. Intentionally, I didn't go and buy cheapy. So let's move on. We'll talk about the next thing I found at the flea market, which is a winch for potentially for my trailer. Here's the second item I picked up at that same flea market. It's a winch, 12-volt winch, missing a cover. It does work. I did hook up my power pack to it, my 12-volt car starter power pack, and it does work. I paid $5 for it. It says 10 there in the sticker. I have no idea what it's from. I have no idea its capacity, and I actually have no idea what all this other part of this gear train is for, because if I turn it around, you can see all these extra gears are not necessary to wind the spool, and I know nothing about these tools. The reason I bought it is I've always considered the possibility of putting a winch on that motorcycle trailer I built in a series of videos here about 5 or 6 years ago. If you're not familiar with that series, go back and look. You shouldn't have any trouble finding it on my channel. But I've always considered the idea of putting a winch on that trailer. So if I ever had to winch something up that wasn't very mobile, like a snowmobile or something else, even though I don't work on those types of equipment very often, it was available. So it was more of a whim buy than anything else. I got it for $5. I will probably end up fabricating a sheet metal cover for it for safety reasons. If anybody knows what all these extra teeth are and gears are on here, I would appreciate knowing, because I have no idea. This one in particular here, and on the other side here, they're not all necessary to drive that spool. So I have no idea what all that's about. If anybody knows, please drop me a note. I'd appreciate knowing. Next item I picked up at that same flea market last week was this little mini tripod. I think I paid $2 for this. Everything on it works fine. The only issue is that the shoe, my camera mount shoe from my other tripod, will not fit here. This is a little bit too small. Other than that, it's all intact and seems to work okay. Probably don't really need it, but for a couple bucks I couldn't resist. And I can probably rig up a way to use my shoe, my other shoe on my camera, which I normally don't take off much, with this tripod. I also got this Dremel chuck here at that same flea market. There was a guy who had a little booth of all Dremel tools in it. The Dremel itself I already had. I had this for some time. I've used Dremels for years. I'm very fond of Dremels. This is probably the 4th or 5th one I've had in the last 35, 40 years. Anyway, what I want to talk about was this chuck. And this is a little mini 3-jaw chuck. And you can see as I spin it how the jaws tighten in and open up. I've never seen this before, and I didn't even know they made them, frankly. And there's the package it came from. I've never seen them in the stores that I frequent when I buy Dremel attachments, like the cutoff wheels and etc. But there's no collets, and it expands beyond 1/8 of an inch, which their standard Dremel collets don't do. You have to swap out collets. You're going to go smaller than that. Anyway, couldn't resist it. For 10 bucks, the guy was selling them. This was brand new, by the way. I just cut that package to take it out. And I thought they'd be a handy little tool to use with my Dremel, or a handy little attachment, rather, to use with my Dremel. We're done with the flea market buys from last week. Now, just a couple of things I want to show you. I did buy a new ultrasonic cleaner that you can see here. This is brand new. I think this is a 6-quart unit. I have not used it yet. Very common on eBay. This is going to be used primarily for cleaning carburetors, motorcycle carburetors, small engine carburetors. reason I bought that was to replace this smaller ultrasonic cleaner I bought quite a few years ago now from Harbor Freight. And I wanted something with a little bit more capacity. You see here the size of that one versus the size of this one. I think the Harbor Freight unit here was, I'm going to say 2.5 or 3 quarts, something like that. Doesn't say right on here, but and these have a pretty good reputation, a larger square unit, so you'll be seeing that very likely in an upcoming video when I put it into service. I got some ideas on how to use it and try some different techniques for cleaning carburetors. I'm also intending to go along with this to buy a small benchtop media blaster. I have a larger media blaster that's on wheels, but I want to get a small one that's 2 feet by 18 inches by 20 inches tall, something like that, that I can use as a soda media blaster, bicarbonate soda. The current system I use is a total loss. I have to take it outside and you lose all your media. I understand that those small benchtop units, you can set them up to reclaim the soda media, which is used primarily for carburetors. So my thinking is I'll partner that unit, that new benchtop unit, which I have not bought yet, with this new ultrasonic cleaner, and I'll have dedicated equipment then for that. Well, that's it for this little brief video on a few things going on in the shop these days. I have not worked much lately on the little Yamaha YL1 since we had such a late spring this year. I've been trying to get caught up outside since I've been retired and getting things done that I normally would have done earlier this spring. So I've been spending a lot of time outside on projects around the house rather than working on a little Yamaha. I will get back to it, of course, during the course of the summer. However, you might see the work or progress on the little Yamaha slow down a little bit in coming weeks and month or two as I focus on other things, including some of these projects I just talked about, such as the bench grinder and the benchtop media blaster. One thing I will profile a bit in an upcoming video here fairly soon is the chrome for the little Yamaha YL1. I did get most of the chrome back, and I thought I would take you through the before and after of, the before will be photos, the after will be, I'll do in the video, of the chrome for the project. The fuel tank is in being chromed right now, and the mufflers have to go in also to be chromed, but the rest of the chrome for the bike is ready for a review, I think. The other thing I'd like to do in probably that same video is profile or talk about my next restoration project when I'm done with the Yamaha. Certainly have a long ways to go yet with the little Yamaha because I've got to get the pipes done, the tank done as I indicated, I've got to finish the painting and then the final assembly. Final assembly should go quite quickly on that once I get all this preparatory work done on the other pieces. But I would like to talk about my next project I'm thinking about, which would be totally different than the little Yamaha. It'll still be a vintage Japanese motorcycle, but all I will tell you is it won't be a Yamaha, so you have to stay tuned for that. That's it for this video today, folks. As usual, thanks for watching.